Chris here, and welcome to my channel. And as you can see by my brand new setup, it's time to play Phase 10 Chooses My TBR. So we have a new board. It's blue this time. I'm really... I have a Blitzy. She's helping, so you might hear her in the background. She's decided she wants to sing to me. I'm really excited about the new board. I think it looks nice and neat, and I'm excited to be able to dive into it. Before we get to that, though, I have a few things I should mention. First, I'm doing 2 readathons in the month of August. The first is the Final Book Support Group, which I believe is the 7th through the 13th. And then the other is the Cat Lady Readathon, which I believe is the 12th and the 13th, or the 13th and the 14th. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put the dates up here on the screen. I'm very excited to be partaking in both. They're both quite fun. The Final Book Support Group is all about continuing series and finishing series, and the Cat Lady Readathon is literally about reading books that have cats in them. So, very excited to be doing those. I will probably do a TBR video for those separately in the next week or so, so keep your eyes on my channel for that. I wanted to mention that I'm reading the middle grade March pick for August, and that's Maisie Chan's Last Chance. I don't really know anything about this, but I'm excited to be partaking, and hopefully they've picked out a good one for August. I'm continuing my own Percy Jackson universe read-along, and in the month of August, we'll be reading The Tyrant's Tomb and The Tower of Nero, which are books 4 and 5 in the Trials of Apollo series, so we'll be wrapping this series up. If you want to join in, there's a link to my Discord in the description below. There are channels for every single book in the Percy Jackson universe, so feel free to hop in. I believe next month I will be finishing up the Percy Jackson universe books, and then in October, we'll be reading the 2 new Percy Jackson books that came out this year. So if you want to join in, there's still plenty of time. Then I'm still doing Buzzwordathon, and the prompt for this month is to read a book with a body part in the title. I looked at my own TBR because I've been trying to pull from books I own, and the only body part I found was bone. So what I'm going to go with is Tender at the Bone by Ruth Reichel. This is a nonfiction memoir, so this is also going to be my nonfiction pick of the month. I figured I might as well double up here. I don't know much more about that than this, other than it's a memoir, but I remember getting this out of the little free library, and the thing that pulled me in is the line, beginning with Reichel's mother, the notorious food poisoner known as the Queen of Mold. I want to know more about her mom and seeing how that played into her story. So this will be my Buzzwordathon and my nonfiction pick for the month of August. I'm also doing TBR Knockout. The first of the 2 prompts is to read a book with a school setting. And so for this, I'm going to read Because of Mr. Terup by Rob Buea. And it literally starts with, meet the students of Mr. Terup's class. It's the start of a new year at Snow Hill School, and 7 students find themselves thrown together in Mr. Terup's 5th grade class. So we're obviously going to be set in a school setting, seeing their time in this 5th grade class, and it looks like they've got a bunch of different characteristics, because we have like the class clown, the new girl, the brain, the queen bee, the slacker, the pushover, and the shy one. So I'm curious to see how they end up mingling in this book. And then the other prompt was to buddy read a book. So I asked my mom what she was in the mood for. A cozy mystery, a thriller, a romance, or a historical fiction, because she reads those genres. She picked cozy mystery. I picked out 5 cozy mysteries I had on my shelf and let her pick one for us to buddy read in August, and she went with The Moonshine Shack Murder. It says, in this intoxicating new cozy mystery series, the future for modern-day moonshiner Hattie Hayes looks bright until death darkens the doorstep of her moonshine shack. So, very excited to check this out. I don't know much more about it than that. I literally just went first in a series, first in a series, first in a series. And this is the one that sounded most interesting to her, so this is the one I will be reading and buddy reading with her for TBR Knockout. Now, before we get into the game, I've already mentioned my nonfiction, which means it's time for this sucker. I am terrified of this, because I'm still working on June's pick of Ruin. I haven't gotten to it yet. And, well, I'm worried that some very thick books are going to come out of here, and I'm looking to read a lot of different books, so if it could pick out some books that I've already got my eye on, that would be great. So let's see. We're overflowing again, so I get the feeling that I'm going to lose a lot of pieces of paper. That purple one. We'll go over here. Oh, there goes some paper. Oh, there goes a bunch. It was this orange one I had grabbed. And we'll go down here and we'll go all the way to the bottom. Oh God, more paper. And this orange one. Okay. So the first series I pulled out of my jar is The Witches of Thistlegrove. Let me go see if I can get book 2. I think I'm on book 2. So the second book in this series is From Bad to Cursed. It's actually a completely different series than I thought it was. I read Payback's a Witch in June, enjoyed it, and decided that I would continue on with the series if it came out of my jar, and well, it did. My library has it. It's a kind of witchy romance series, so I don't know what's happening in the second book. I believe it's a companion novel, maybe? I think we're following a character we met in book 1, so I'm down to read it. Like I said, I enjoyed the first book, so kind of excited to be continuing on with the series rather quickly. The second series is another one I started in July, The London Highwaymen by Cat Sebastian. Let's see if I can get the second book in this one. So the second book in this series is called The Perfect Crimes of Marion Hayes. This is a historical romance series. I read the first book in June. Both of these two series I started in June as part of my Queer Lit readathon at TBRs, so very excited to be continuing on. This is another one where we've switched POVs. We're following Marion in this one, who we met in book 1, and I'm curious to see what happens in her story because it's a continuation of the series, and she was quite interesting in book 1, so we'll see where she goes in book 2. Not at all upset that I'm continuing 2 series I started recently. And then the third series, did I also read this one in June? Let's find out. A Fairy Garden Mystery by Daryl Wood Gerber. This is a cozy mystery series, and I remember not loving the first book, but willing to give the second book a chance. So let's go see if my library has it. The second book in this series is called A Glimmer of a Clue. We follow a woman who runs a fairy garden shop. She can see fairies. And in this one, it says something about like an art critic being found dead, stabbed with a letter opener. So I'm assuming she's going to investigate who killed this art critic. And like I said, I was not in love with the first book, but I liked it enough to continue the series and see if it got better, because I found sometimes cozy mysteries, once they find their groove, get a lot better. So we'll see. Those are my 3 series. Reading the second books in each of these series and making some progress. One of them would allow me to be caught up. Maybe the Fairy Garden one will tell me if I want to continue on with the series. So it could be worse. Could have been better. None of these were on my radar. So it'll be an interesting month in August for my series to continue. So I think I've got all the pieces of paper back in here, which means I can put this away until I film my September TBR, which means it's time for the board. It is July 30th, so I'm filming this kind of late, but the only book I have left for my Phase 10 TBR is We Are Not From Here, and I am on page 53, so I see no reason I won't finish this in the next day and a half, so I'm going to give myself a reward. So here are my reward prompts. We'll mix them up. And the one we'll go with is that one right there, as I lost a bunch of them onto the floor. So now I've shuffled these and mixed these up, so we'll just pick a random card out of here. We'll go with this one. Ooh, we're replacing the blue 12. So we will pull down this prompt, which is brand spanking new. And I'm actually going to stick that on top of the pile. And it'll be the first prompt I put back up here. And normally I don't do that. I kind of mix it in. But I literally replaced every single prompt on the board. I redid them all when I changed out my board. So I figured that prompt is fresh and new and deserves a chance to go right back up. It just won't be for blue 12. So we're going to mix the cards back up again, just to give that blue 12 at least a shot of coming up somewhere. And then we're going to draw my cards. So I have my cards. Here they are. Look how pretty they are. And we're going to be going for 2 sets of 3. I can see I've got a couple of 2s, a couple of 1s, and a couple of 6s. So I will set the board up and I'll be right back with you. So there you have it. There's my board. We're going to be going for 6s, 1s, or 2s. I don't know which 2 of those numbers. But let's get in and see where we're going to start. Draw number 1 is a blue 4. The prompt for blue 4 is last letter first. So I believe what that means is that I need to use the last letter of the last book that was chosen for phase 10 and use that as the first letter of my next book. Let me go see what the last book I chose for last month's round of phase 10 was. Usually this is a little bit easier because it would have been based on, like, if that was my third poll, what I picked for the second book, but it's based on last month. So give me a second, I'll be right back. So the last book I chose last month was Isaiah Dunn is My Hero, and that ends in O, which means I need to pick a book that starts with O, and for this I'm going to choose One Poison Pie. This is a cozy mystery series, and it says, what's a kitchen witch to do when her almost fiancé leaves her suddenly single and unemployed? For Mia Malone, the answer's simple. Move to her grandmother's quirky Idaho hometown, where magic is an open secret and witches and warlocks are mostly welcome. With a new gourmet dinner delivery business and a touch of magic in her recipes, Mia's hopes are high. Even when her ex's little sister Christina arrives looking for a place to stay, Mia takes it in stride. But her first catering job takes a disastrous turn when her client's body is found stabbed and stuffed under the head table. Mia's shocked to learn that she's a suspect, and even more so when she realizes she's next on a killer's list. With Christina along with Mia's meddling grandmother in the mix, she'll have to find out which of the town's eccentric residents has an appetite for murder before this fresh start comes to a sticky end. I figured a cozy mystery would be an easy read to stick on here. I had a handful of options because I was trying to choose from books I own. I believe I own the ebook of this, which to me counts. It's reminding me, hey, you have ebooks you can read? So that is the first book on my newest round of Phase 10 Chooses My TBR. Draw number 2 is a yellow 4. Oh, we're going for 4s here. And the prompt for yellow 4 is, oh, so easy. Animal on the cover. So for this, I'm going to go with The Battle for Roar by Jenny McLaughlin. So the animals on this cover are dragons. I think they count. They may be considered mythical animals, but they are animals. This is the third and final book in the Roar series. This is a 5-star prediction, I believe, and I'm very, very excited to get to this. This follows twins Arthur and Rose, who in the first book have to rescue their grandfather from a make-believe land that they're no longer quite sure they believe in. I've loved this series, and I'm very, very excited to be finishing it. Draw number 3 is a green 4. I swear I shuffled these. I don't know why we're getting every 4 in the deck, but we are. And the prompt for green 4 is set in another world. So I may come to regret this, but I'm going to go for Ruin. This is set in the Banished Lands. We choose another world. Here is a map of the Banished Lands. Definitely not our world. This is the third book in the Faithful and the Fallen series, and we're following, I want to say Corbin is kind of our main person. Yeah, Corbin. It's been a while since I've read book 2, but there was like a lot of things going on, and I believe the lands were at the brink of war, and we have a bunch of different POVs, and we're not quite sure if memory serves who to trust. So I'm very excited to be continuing on with this. It's just risky putting this thick, chunky book on my Phase 10 TBR because if I don't finish it, then I have to put a punishment on. But we're going to go for this because this was supposed to be my series to continue in June, and I didn't, so. Ruin is now officially on the TBR. What do you think? Is draw number 4 going to be a red 4? That would be really creepy. Draw number 4 is not a red 4. It is a green 10. The prompt for green 10 is old favorite author. Well, we all know what I'm choosing for this one, right? So what, and I'm sure is going to be a shock to everybody, I've chosen an Aaron Hunter book. Just completely shocking. And I'm going to read Cats of the Clans. So this is a bonus book, and it literally is going to show us various cats that we meet throughout the series. I'm trying to see if I can find one that won't oh, here we go. Here is Blue Star. We meet Blue Star in the very first book in the series. We get a little portrait, and then we get a bit of a backstory on her, and it has a bunch of different cats that we have met. And I believe my little note, I actually have a little note. It says, read after reading Power of 3, the site. So this, I would assume, contains cats from the first 3 arcs in the series. So that's kind of where you would want to read it. It is one of the handful of books I still have to get to, so I figure give myself an easy book to read, and it has also got cats on the cover, and it's about cats, so maybe it'll make my cat lady readathon TBR. Door number 5 is a 1, so we're definitely going for 1s. So we'll put that there for now. And since we're doing doubles here, I think I'll take this yellow 10. And the prompt for yellow 10 is book with a number in the title. So for this, I'm going to go with the Summer of 69. This took me way too long. I definitely need to read this as a summer cover, so I'm going into it blind. But I'm like, oh crap, what book am I going to use for this? And I'm like looking at my list of owned books and numbers, and this one popped up, and I went, how did you miss that one? It is literally right in front of your face. Like, the pile is right there where I took this from, because I have it separated out because it's a summer cover. So this is a summer cover. I'm going into it blind. I know nothing about it except that I think it's set in summer. Based on the cover, I will link my summer covers video so that you can check that out if you want to know what else I picked for that video. I was hoping to get to it anyway, so this is the perfect reason to stick it on my TBR. Draw number 6 is a yellow 5. The prompt for yellow 5. Ooh, so easy. Library book. I think for this, I'll choose Green Wild by Perry Thompson. So this is a fantasy book, and it's middle grade, and it says, Daisy Thistledown is on the run. Her mother has been keeping big, glittering secrets, and now she has vanished. 11-year-old Daisy knows it's up to her to find Ma, but she's being hunted by someone determined to stop her from discovering the truth. The chase will lead her through a hidden doorway into another world, a place that's bursting with magic and enchantment. This is Green Wild. Full of astonishing natural wonders, this land of green magic seems too strange to be real. But Daisy quickly realizes that it holds the key to finding her mother and that someone wants to destroy it. Daisy must band together with a botanical genius, a boy who can talk with animals, and a cat with an attitude to uncover the truth about who she really is. Only then can she channel the power that will change her whole world and save the Green Wild itself. This unforgettable adventure is the first book in an extraordinary new series. This sounds really, really interesting. It's got a cat, so like that one. So I don't know if the camera picked that up and you could see, but Blissy came around the camera and climbed back up on the chair. Say hi, Blitzy. Anyways, it's got a cat, so I could read this during Cat Lady Readathon if I wanted, so I think this is a good shout, and it sounds quite interesting, so we'll see if I enjoy it. Draw number 7 is a 2, so we're definitely going for 2s and 1s. And I think I'll get rid of the red 6 because, hang on, I haven't had any reds yet. So we'll go for something different. Red 6. The prompt for red 6 is dark cover. So in another move that I may regret, I'm going to put The Will of the Many on here. So this is by James Islington, who wrote the Lycanis trilogy. This is a brand new book. I legitimately know zero about it other than it was written by James Islington. It says, at the elite Catanan Academy, a young fugitive uncovers layered mysteries and world-changing secrets in this new fantasy series by internationally best-selling author of the Lycanis trilogy, James Islington. So, we'll see. I enjoyed the Hannis trilogy, so hopefully I will enjoy this one. I feel like it's a relatively dark cover because the entire background is this dark blue, so we're going to go with it. It's a 14-day book from the library, so that is another reason I decided to put it on here, because odds are I'm going to have to get to it anyways. So this is the next book on my TBR. Draw number 8 is a blue 12. Ooh! I get my reward. Okay. Watch 4 hours of streaming. So this means I need to watch 4 hours of TV off of a streaming service. I think I can do that because Heartstopper, the new season, comes out on Netflix in August, I believe. There's no way I won't be watching that. This is perfect. I get to do this instead of reading a book. So, yay. Very happy about that. I'll take it. I was going to watch it anyways. I am so excited for the new season of Heartstopper. It looks amazing based on the trailer. So that reward could not have come at a better time. And I will absolutely now 100% be finishing my last book for this, because I don't want to have to swap that out for a punishment. Okay. Draw number 9 is another one. So I have I have more than a set of ones. And for funsies, we'll take the 6. And the prompt for yellow 6 is easy, middle grade. So for this, I'll choose the middle grade March book club pick and go with Maisie Chun's Last Chance. I'm reading this anyways. It's definitely a middle grade. And I might as well stick it on my Phase 10 TBR. And for what is hopefully my final draw of the game, draw number 10 is a 10. Okay. We're good. This is perfect. Blue 10 is green on the cover. I'll go with A Darkening of Dragons by S.A. Patrick. There's a lot of green on this cover. It is a 5-star prediction. I'm trying to squeeze in all of the books I need for this, as I have quite a few that I haven't gotten to, and I want to hopefully wrap that up. I know I'm very behind on my 5-star predictions and my seasonal cover video. I'm working on it, I promise. But this is a highly anticipated book. It says 3 accidental heroes encounter 1 legendary villain in an epic dragon-filled adventure just right for young fans of Terry Pratchett, J.R.R. Tolkien, and How to Train Your Dragon. I have heard really, really good things about this. I've wanted to read it for ages, so very excited to have it on my TBR. So that is my TBR. My board was very, very kind to me for the most part. I went risky when I picked a couple of chunky adult fantasies, but I think it will pay off in the long run. I have a ton of other books that I want to get to. I have a couple more of the Wings of Fire books. I have a couple more Skullduggery Pleasant books. I have a few cozy mysteries on there that I would like to read. I have the rest of my 5-star predictions in my summer covers. And I have a bunch of books that I have out from the library that just seemed interesting. So we'll see what all I can get to. And that's not including my Cat Lady Readathon TBR and my Final Book Support Group TBR, which I may or may not have gotten some books from that on here. So with that being said, that is all for my TBR. I haven't completed my phase yet. I don't have any skips or swaps, but I do have 4 hours of streaming. Heartstopper is probably going to be what I use this on. Maybe more, depending on how many episodes of Heartstopper there are and whether it equals 4 hours, but I'm totally down to use that reward for Heartstopper. So I would love to know a book you're really excited to get to in August. Let me know in the comments section below. I think the book I am most excited to get to is probably The Battle for Roar. I'm very excited to see how that series kind of ends. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me dragon emojis, considering I managed to get several books that involve dragons on my TBR. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!